like to drive around and talk about the latest happenings. This is the channel you need, so subscribe and follow Carmentary.
Good morning, everybody. Getting an early start. It's like 6:30 a.m. as I head out to the airport. We're going to get the day started off right here with a quick episode of Carmentary English version. Whoa, there's a little whoop in the road for you. Lots of different things to talk about. It's going to be kind of a random episode. I'll try to keep it to about 10 minutes if possible. The last episode was in Japanese, so maybe you didn't watch that one if you're watching the English episodes. But I thought I'd revisit that for a moment because I thought it was kind of interesting. I talked about the BDE. Did you hear about the BDE? The big energy. Big energy. I'm kind of blanking out the word there. D-I-C-K is the actual word. It's interesting. I talked about, it's a popular new kind of slang being used in the States. And I explained it to my Japanese audience as best I could. So I thought it's quite interesting that that's sort of a common thing to say now in the States. And YouTube, my lovely platform which I'm hosting all these videos on, I was pretty exciting because they flagged my video and they put a little message on there. I monetize my videos, as you know. There's little ads on the bottom here, so that I can make like 12 cents per video that I put out or something ridiculous. It's not like my living depends on these YouTube videos, although I wish it did. But it's fun to kind of monetize and see if I can, if I ever make something that goes like viral, like gets like 5 million views, man, that would be so cool, right? But that video, even though it was in Japanese, but I was saying the D-I-C-K word in English with good pronunciation. So YouTube's little robots, they like picked that up and they flagged it yellow, and it said, "This video is not appropriate for most sponsors, for most advertisers," which means there's a lot of advertisers who will not put their ads on the video because I was saying the word D-I-C-K, which I was like, oh, this is so exciting because I've realized that all the big YouTubers, all the famous guys, all the guys making like the millions of bucks on YouTube, they all have these problems, which is like major first world problems. I've been demonetized. My videos are being demonetized. It's the adpocalypse. The YouTube adpocalypse. I can't get ads on my videos anymore. And never been a problem for me because I'm such a good boy. I'm like altar boy or something. I don't swear. There's no nudity. There's no violence. There's nothing that can be offensive to anyone in anything I've ever made on YouTube. Unless you are like so easily offended. And I think that's the reason why I'm so unsuccessful as a YouTuber. Is like you have to be controversial and on topic, whatever the topic is, and radical, over the top, extreme, a maverick, doing crazy crap. You put that out there, that's going to be viral and get lots of views, and then you're going to start making some money. But I've never really done that until now. Until my last episode of Carmentary, which got flagged by YouTube. So I'm so excited because, like, oh man, does this mean I'm on the path to YouTube stardom? Because I said a bad word? I said a dirty word? Oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to go down that route though, folks. It's kind of funny though. So, just wanted to mention that. Do any of you know, if you watch YouTube at all, you probably do, because he comes up in like everything. This guy, Logan Paul. He is like the greatest example of, you know, YouTube. There's a word for it in English and I forget right now. It's like doing really crazy, stupid, controversial kind of stuff, putting it on YouTube, and of course that's going to get a lot of views, and then you make a lot of money off of it, so you keep upping the ante to do more crazy shit and get more views. There's actually quite a few guys in Japan now. There's a couple things that were on the news recently. People were talking about, there was like a guy, he would go into convenience stores in Japan, and they have on the counter right next to the register a food in Japan called oden, and it's all these little delicacies. There's like an egg, there's like a chikua, there's like these like processed fish products that are made into little different shapes, and it soaks in this broth. It's really quite good, but it's like an open vat on the counter. I always thought it was crazy. It's like one of those things that you would never see in America, because people would be like, why is there an open pot of soup where everybody can sneeze or, you know, drool over or breathe on? And it just, maybe it's not a germ hazard, but it just looks like a germ bucket. And then they actually, like, you can tell them what you want. You're like, I want the egg, and I want the triangle fish thing or whatever, and they put it in a bowl, and then they ladle in some of the soup at the end on top, and then they cover it so you can take it home. But it's just sitting there open all day, like they're open 24 hours a day. It's there all the time. I never once bought oden at a convenience store. I've had it at restaurants, it's super good. I've had it at home, not at the convenience store. Not for me, but a lot of people like it. So there was a guy who has a YouTube channel, and he was going into these convenience stores, and he was filming himself, or having someone film him, sneezing like big time straight into the oden pot on the counter, which is like, you know, brilliant. I was like, oh, you know, why didn't I think of that? But that's the kind of thing that even if I had thought of, I wouldn't have done, because I'm such a nice guy. You know what I mean? It's like, you gotta be kind of a a-hole to go into a store and sneeze into their oden, and then basically like filming the reaction of the staff, right? Like, they're like, oh, dude just sneezed in the oden. And then of course it's like, it's Japan, so he just like walks out, doesn't care. And then they're like trying to like figure out what to do. Like, do we just ignore this like it never happened, we don't tell the next group of people, or do we actually, like, you know, throw it all away and start a new batch? Like, crazy. I haven't even watched these YouTube videos, but just thinking about it is funny. And the guy, you know, he got a ton of views from this, and you know, became really popular on YouTube. So I don't know if he got arrested for it or what. I don't think you probably can't get arrested for sneezing on a pot of soup in a you know, that's just, it's a natural reaction, even though he's probably doing it on purpose. Then there was a guy in Japan who he took like some fake well, it was like baby powder or some kind of a white powdery substance that looks like a drug, like cocaine or something. And he would go up to like policemen on the street, and he would like drop the bag or something on the ground, and like accidentally, like fake, you know, like, oh, and then he would like run, and the cops would be like running after him because they see a guy just drop a bag of powder, which looks pretty suspicious. And, you know, he had people filming the whole thing. Oh, hold on, tunnel, sorry. Okay, we're back. And he would get arrested, and I think we'd have people film himself himself getting arrested, and he would put this on YouTube, and then of course he would get released because it's fake, you know, it's just baby powder. It's like, why are you arresting me, right? But then I think he actually really got arrested because I don't think you can do that kind of stuff. There's some law against that. Like, you can't just do stuff in front of police to like purposely get arrested, right? And I don't know the details, but there's guys like that. So there's a-hole type characters over here in Japan. It's becoming sort of a fad. You know, that's what you got to do to get your views on YouTube. You got to be so over the top, and you got to have like clickbait titles, and you got to have thumbnails with like chicks in bikinis, even though there's nothing like that, or even if there is something like that in the video, it's like a millisecond. It's like 1 second. There's a chick just happened to walk by, but you put the screenshot of the bikini in there because that's what all, you know, 9-year-old boys around the world want to watch. Okay, it's quite a bit of a tangent there, but if you haven't heard of Logan Paul, which I mentioned earlier, do a quick search on YouTube. This is the guy, he came to Japan and he filmed a whole bunch of crazy stuff in Tokyo, like, and he got slammed by the international community. There's so many people around the world, a lot of famous YouTubers who love Japan, come to Japan a lot, have a lot of respect for Japan, and they were slamming him hard for all the stupid stuff he did. He was just acting like for the first couple days, he went to Tsukiji, the fish market. He was, you know, doing dumb stuff there. He went to Asakusa, like the famous temple there, and like he was throwing money into the charity box they have there, like he was like wishing for like chicks. He was like, bring me lots of chicks, and throwing money in there, like doing kind of just stupid stuff. But I didn't think that was like that bad even. Like, yeah, you know, you kind of expect that, and I think Japanese people in general expect and accept the fact that foreigners, not just Americans, but people from all countries around the world, you know, don't understand the culture and the society in Japan. And so they're going to come and they're going to do stupid things and make mistakes, and Japanese people are super accepting of that. They have a real large leeway that they give to foreigners. So even that kind of stuff was like, all right, whatever, another stupid American. That's all they just, in their minds, they're like, okay, whatever, stupid American. And they just let it go. But then he went to Mount Fuji and they walked into the woods, which is like a famous forest where a lot of people commit suicide in Japan. It's known as like the suicide forest. I've been there. It's pretty crazy. And he actually found a body like in the forest, and they filmed it, and they put that in a video on YouTube, and that was like the end of the line. Like, even YouTube was like, all right, you went too far, can't do that. And the whole world just jumped on his ass, and I think his channel got canned for a little while. He's back on now, and then he had to do all these interviews in America, like kind of, you know, showing how apologetic he was and talking to a suicide survivor and all this stupid, you know, again, typical kind of American way of showing you're sorry for something, is to go on TV and talk about it. So kind of weird. And, you know, the whole thing is that it became like a big thing around the world and on YouTube, but no one in Japan gives a crap. No one was talking about this. It wasn't even a blip on like it was not trending at all in Japan, just so you know. I thought that was kind of interesting. So the things that become big news in one country are nothing at all in another country. That's another kind of interesting thing. All right, I've made it to the highway. I'm about to get to the airport. I'm gonna let you guys get on with the rest of your day. That was me rambling about YouTube and what's been happening recently. I will see you in the next episode of Carmentary. It's going to be in Japanese. If you're studying Japanese, I hope you like that. Or if you just like listening to me talk Japanese, you'll enjoy that. In the meantime, have a good day, folks. I love how this machine, it says it in English. Take a ticket. You know Japan cares about the foreign community when the ticket machine for the highway says it in English for you. How did they know? How did they know I was American? Huh.
So subscribe and follow Carmentary.